All right, so welcome to your morning flow. Just finding that comfortable place and seated, or if it's not, on your back. If you're cross-legged like me, I know sometimes this is just not super comfortable. If your hips are feeling tight, so you can always take a block or a couple of pillows and sit up on them to take just a bit of the crease out of your hips. It can take a little bit to settle in. So I'll just start to roll your shoulders a couple of times. And then eventually allow your shoulders to just slide down your back, hands in your lap or on your knees or your thighs. So you settle into stillness, just become aware of your breath. Don't try to change your breath or force your breath. Just simply notice. So something that's been coming up a lot for me lately is overwhelm and the feeling of having a really full plate and not being able to tackle everything. And what's been really helpful with that is just simply presence. So remembering to just be in this moment while we're here, to maybe even find the joy in the ordinary moments, to not be stuck looking ahead or behind, but just simply breathe in the right here and now. Take a big breath in. Notice that pause at the top of your breath right before the exhale. And then when you exhale, just completely let that all go. Let's take 2 more breaths just like that. Full inhale through your nose. Feel the fullness at the top, little pause. And exhale out through your mouth, release. One more big belly breath in. And long exhale, breath out. Sink into your body. If you are on your back, just slowly make your way to seated so you can start to just join in with some of this movement. And gently tip your chin down towards your chest. And then as you inhale, bring your left ear to your left shoulder. And as you exhale, circle your chin all the way down towards your chest again. Inhale, breath, bring your right ear over to your right shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest. We'll just continue in this motion. However, I decided to get into the toy, so I apologize for that. All right. Let's take about 1 or 2 more to each side. So just feeling the sensations of opening in the sides and the backs of your neck. And gently come all the way back down through center. And lift your chin straight up. If you have a block under you, I find it a little bit easier to just take that out, or you can always straighten your legs. Inhale, breath, reach your arms all the way up. Take a big stretch through the spine. As you exhale, pour over to your right hand to your mat, left fingertips reach over. Full breath in, reach and lengthen through the left side. As you exhale, start to fold over your right thigh, so left armpit towards your right knee. Inhale for breath. Open up the body, take your left fingertips to the sky, Shine your heart up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, fold. Okay, so you're adding in that little bit of a twist. Let's take 3 more to this side. So inhales to open up, soften through your left arm. Exhale, soften down through the spine. Almost like you're opening a book with the inhales and closing it gently with the exhale. Let's take 1 more round of breath and movement. When you land in your fold this time, just walk your fingertips. So take your right hand out as well. Both fingertips over towards the right side. Inhale, breath, lengthen through your spine. And exhale, fold. Walk your fingertips in towards the right side of your body. You're coming into a seated twist. So left hand will land onto your right thigh or knee. Slide your right hand back and lengthen up through the spine. If you want to activate the core a little bit more, instead of having right fingertips down, you can always float them off of your mat. Additionally, you can float your left hand off and draw your belly button in towards your spine. If you do have your hands floating, take 1 more breath. And then you'll gently release all the way through center. Plant both hands over to the left and then just fold over to the left side. Walk your hands back up and towards your body. Come all the way up through seated and roll your shoulders. If you're with me and cross-legged, switch the cross of your ankles. And since today's theme is presence, just notice if that feels awkward. It's a really good reminder of our habits and patterns we get stuck in, even with the physical body. So inhale, breath, reach the arms, circle overhead. Exhale, left side, drop your left fingertips down, right hand heels over. Okay, inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, start to fold and twist over your left thigh. Tuck your chin to your chest. Inhale, open up, right hand to the sky. And exhale, fold towards you. Just a couple more, just like that. Starting to warm up your spine and shoulders. Maybe even feeling this into your hip creases or glutes. The next time that you go to fold, you'll walk both hands over to the left. So they're just kind of pointed in the same direction that your left knee is. And then as you inhale, lengthen through your spine like you're taking a halfway lift. And then exhale to fold and drape. Walk your hands in towards the left side of your body, setting up for twists. Slowly stacking vertebrae 1 by 1. Right hand onto your left knee or thigh, left fingertips reach back. As you inhale, think about lengthening through the body. As you exhale, twisting. Okay, option if you did so on the other side to float your back hand off of the earth, maybe your right hand off of your knee or thigh. Notice how much effort it is to just hold. How much strength your body has this morning, even if it's still waking up. And gently bring your hands back onto the earth and your knee. Unravel from your twist and then place both hands over to the right and just hold for a breath. Come all the way back up through center and then meet into tabletop. So you can roll over top of the ankles or just uncross your feet. Shoulders stack over top of your hips. Nope, shoulders over top of your wrists, hips over top of your knees and tabletop. We're just gonna find a bit of opening for the feet today. So just simply press your hips back towards your heels and then shift forward. You can do this a couple of times. So especially if your knees are pretty tight or they've been feeling sensitive, this is where you're gonna stay. If you wanna play with a little bit more opening, if you're not really feeling this in the calves, when you walk your hips back towards your heels, now walk your hands so that they just come to either side of your knees And you're just gonna play with taking your heels to the ground and then knees to the ground. And you might even, if you feel comfortable, take your hands to your heart and then tip forward, okay? That one can be a little bit intense. You can always just keep your hands rooted. So we'll stay with this rocking motion for about 3 or 4 more breaths. So if you can move slow enough that half of your motion aligns with an inhale, and then the other half with an exhale. So you're gonna add in a little bit of the spine now. So you're gonna meet back with your knees on the ground. Make sure your toes are tucked for a moment. Those of you in tabletop, walk your hips back to your heels, hands to your knees. So 2 options. You can start to walk your hands back, lean back, and you're gonna get a big opening into the fronts of the quads. If your knees are not feeling that today, you're gonna take a modification of camel. So hands support your low back. You're just gonna press your hips forward, squeezing your glutes. Okay, don't worry about the back bend. It's more about the opening of the hips here. Okay. And then walk your fingertips forward, plant your hands in front of your knees, press into your hands and pick your hips up. Come into a bent-legged fold. So you'll have a pretty deep bend into your knees. Hands can stay exactly as they are. If you need, you can separate the feet a little bit wider to hip-width distance. And we're gonna flow through that about 5 or so times. So as you exhale, peel your heels away from the mat, slowly lower your knees down. As you inhale, start to walk your hands back, lean back, or take that modification of camel, hips over top of knees. On your exhale, start to walk your hands forward, plant your hands. And then when you inhale, pick up your hips and fold. Just find your own rhythm with this. I like exhales to bring you to the earth. Inhales to open the heart and then open the backs of the legs. As long as you're breathing with movement, that's exactly where you need to be. And then the presence just comes in as you start to notice this dance between what your body is doing physically and then that rhythm of the breath. So last round or so. When you go to your fold, you can keep this up and in your knees, but now walk your hands in and you're going to completely drape and dangling pose. So sometimes it can be nice to wrap your hands to opposite elbows or hug your wrists into the opposite nut creep. I'm going to always take your hands to the back of your head or just let them dangle. So yogi choice. And just notice what happens when you rock forward and backwards and side to side. That there's different sensations in your legs. That it really changes the poses, even the smallest of moments. Even the smallest of movements. If you have any bind or grip with your hands, you can gently release. Walk your fingertips all the way forward to a high plank. Your shoulders stack over top of your wrists. Puff out the backs of your shoulders. So there's slight rounding there. And then lift your kneecaps to engage your quadriceps. Draw your belly button into your spine. Press through the backs of your heels. Beautiful. And then slowly you're going to lower to your mat. I like to take it to my knees for the first couple. So you can lower your knees down and then just bend your elbows back behind you and come all the way down. Walk your fingertips out wide off of your mat and then tense up your fingers like you have Spider-Man hands. So your palms are lifted, but fingertips are down. As you inhale, press into your fingertips, peel up through center, head will come up last. As you exhale, roll your right shoulder forward, look over to the left. Inhale, breath, roll up through center, press into your hands. Exhale, left shoulder dips forward, left cheek towards the earth. 2 more to each side. So inhales, reset through center. Exhales to twist and lower. Maybe you notice the effort of the inhale, the ease of the exhale. About 1 more to each side. If you happen to be ahead of or behind me, no rush. Okay, we'll all meet together eventually. Once you come all the way back down through center, you can place your hands underneath your shoulders, press back to a child's pose, and just lengthen out the low back. Allow your hips to sit heavy towards your heels. As you breathe in, notice how there's space for your breath to move down towards the backs of your hips and expand out. And then the exhale, a soft rinse up your spine. Inhale, breath, lift back up through tabletop and meet into downward facing dog. Rise your hips up and drop your heels down. Okay. Looking forward, tippy toe your way to the top of your mat. So this helps you to bring some length into the backs of the hamstrings. You might need to bend your knees as you get closer to the front, and that's okay. Eventually land in a fold. Use your inhale breath to halfway lift and lengthen. And just notice where your body naturally goes. And then exhale to fold. This time we're slowing it down. Inhale, halfway lift and lengthen. Hands can be on the floor or your shins, but try to find a flat back. Draw your belly button up towards your spine. Feel your hip bones pull up towards your bottom 2 ribs. That's going to flatten out the low back. Exhale to fold. Let's do that 1 more time. So see if you can bring in those cues to this 3rd round. Inhale, breath, halfway lift and lengthen. And now this time, imagine you're looking over the edge of a cliff and you just want to lean a little bit more forward to get more of the view. You should really feel the backs of the legs fire up. Okay, honoring that strength of your body. Let's take 1 more big breath in and then exhale, let that go. Soften into your knees, slowly roll up your spine. Okay. 1 vertebra at a time, head can come up last. Once you come to the top, just roll your shoulders once or twice. Palms face forward, Shavasana mountain pose. We're just going to pause here for a moment. So close down your eyes. You can always take your feet wider if you're feeling a little unsteady. And come back to your breath. Something I notice even in yoga, we start to bring that rushing sometimes into the practice, where we try to fit in so much. And so just encourage you, lean into what is it to not be in that urgency to be somewhere, but simply be. Be here. On your next inhale breath, circle the arms overhead. Reach through the fingertips the whole time. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees to drape your body. Inhale breath, halfway lift and lengthen. And then exhale, plant your hands, step your right toes back. Lower your right knee down. Use your inhale breath to sweep your arms overhead, stacking shoulders over top of your back knee and hip. Just try not to dump the hips forward. So you might lean a little bit forward, but there's activation in that front foot. So feel the front heel pushing down and kind of leaning your torso back. Beautiful. As you exhale, gently release your hands down to frame your front foot. Tuck your back toes and then step back downward facing dog. Okay. Walk your big toes together to touch. Inhale your right heel high, but keep your right toes pointed towards the earth. So hips are square. I know I have a tendency to just want to lift the leg higher and open up the hips, but you're really working into the strength of the back body and glutes. And this is a fun one. We did this the other day, so bear with me. Slowly lower your right toes to just hover and then eventually land onto the back of your left heel. And then just play with sinking your left heel towards the ground. And you can always bend into your right knee, so really getting that opening through the calf and the Achilles. On your next inhale, float your right toes towards the sky again. You can pick up your left heel. As you exhale, step your right foot through, lower your left knee down. Use your inhale breath, reach all the way up. So this time, take your right hand onto your right hip. Inhale, lengthen up through the left fingertips. And then as you exhale, just start to pour over slightly. So notice how small of a movement you actually need to shift the feeling or sensation in the body. Maybe the shift happens as you soften your shoulders away from your ears. So you activate through your inner thighs, drawing towards one another. Inhale, breath, reach the right fingertips all the way up. And then exhale, take your hands to the earth. Tuck your back toes. And if you normally just kind of plow and step forward, take your time. Really play with some buoyancy with the back knee. Softly float your left foot towards the top of your mat. Inhale, breath, halfway lift and lengthen. And exhale to fold. Bend into your knees. Inhale, breath, sweep the arms up, stand tall. And then exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, breath, circle the arms. Exhale to fold. Just follow the flow of your own breath. Inhale to halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale to plant your hands, step your left toes back. Lower your left knee down. Use your inhale to sweep your fingertips up. Okay. So if you're unsure of how to get that activation, another way to feel it is feel like your front heel is pulling towards your back knee and your back knee is pulling towards your front heel. Okay, so you kind of feel your whole body moving towards the center of the mat. Beautiful. Soften the shoulders away from the ears so upper body is open but not rigid. One more big breath in, feel your chest rise. Exhale, hands to the earth, step back, downward facing dog. Walk your big toes together to touch. Inhale, left heel high. Okay. And it's okay if your right heel is lifted away from the mat. You'll gently start to place your left toes just onto the back of your right heel. And play with moving your right heel, maybe even just a millimeter towards the earth. You can always take a soft bend into your right knee. Notice how the sensation is lingering in that one side of the body. On your next inhale, float your left heel high, pick up your right heel as well. Exhale, step it through, lower your right knee down. Use your inhale breath to sweep your arms all the way up. Left hand onto your left hip. Inhale, breath, lengthen out through the right side body. And then exhale, just start to trace your right fingertips slightly over. You can draw inner thighs together. Maybe you just work to relax into the shoulders and back of the head and neck. If you want to make this more challenging or in any pose, really, you can play with closing your eyes. That's really going to bring you into presence. On your next inhale, both fingertips rise. And then exhale, take your hands to the earth. Take your time to step forward. See if you can really float your right foot towards the top of your mat. So it lands so softly. Inhale, breath, to halfway lift and lengthen. And exhale to fold. Bend into your knees. Inhale, breath, sweep your arms all the way up. And then exhale, take your hands all the way to heart center. Okay. I like feet together for this, but if feet hip width distance works better for you, you're always welcome to take that as well. Okay, so if you're joining me, you'll bring big toes together, heels slightly apart. Inhale, breath. Circle the arms all the way up. As you exhale, sit back into your chair. So you're bringing knees together, thighs together. Notice if you're focusing on depth rather than allowing your body to be in the pose that makes it feel the strongest. So you really want to feel that pelvic tilt. Instead of tailbone shining back, think about pulling hips up to ribs. Tailbone starts to shine down. You'll bring your hands to your heart center. Inhale, breath, lengthen out the spine. You might even lean a little bit more forward. Exhale, twist. Take your left elbow to the outside of your right thigh. Palms together. If your left elbow doesn't want to quite reach there, left forearm onto your thigh, right hand to your low back. Okay. Now look down at your right big toe, and with that same grace that you just utilized to step forward, you're now going to step back with your left foot. So right foot is your anchor. You can slide, you can take a bunch of steps back, or you can challenge and try to take one step back and land ever so softly. Okay. Hands will stay at heart center. You just start to press your palms together and see if there's a little bit more room for a twist. Always optional, lower that back knee here as well, okay? You fly the arms open for this next transition. We're just gonna be here for a breath. Now see if you can slowly stack shoulders over hips and move really gracefully, like you're moving through honey. So left hand will point forward, right hand points back. Beautiful. Okay. Bring your right hand to your low back. Inhale your left fingertips all the way up to the sky. A big stretch to the front of your left hip. Inhale, breath, sweep your right fingertips down and up, face forward, high lunge. Exhale, open up, warrior two. All right, that front leg has done a lot of stability for us today, so we're just gonna give it a little bit moment's rest. Flip your front palm to face up. As you inhale, straighten out your front leg and just reach your right hand all the way up towards the sky. Optional, you can always take your right hand to the back of your skull and tip your gaze up. On your next inhale breath, lift all the way back up through center. Okay, Skandasana, back knee will bend, front leg straightens. Hands can come down to the mat to help with the transition, or if you want more of a challenge, hands to heart center. So as you bend into your back knee, peel your front toes off of your mat and just start to lower your hips all the way down. So you're going to be a little bit lifted instead of just sitting on the earth. You can always use your fingertips to help support you. Back heel might lift as well. And then presence really comes in these balancing poses. So you kind of feel every shape of the body, every nuance. Notice that intense focus. We'll gently make our way onto our seat. So you can bring your hands down. I like to take one hand forward and one hand back and then just slide down. Bring your left foot to the inside of your right thigh and then turn your body so that your shoulders square towards your right toes. Inhale, breath, reach up through the fingertips. Feel your spine lengthen. As you exhale, hinge at your hips. Feel like you're reaching for your toes with a flat back. And then when you can't reach anymore, just drape your body. We're going to move like that 3 more times. So as you inhale, press into your fingertips. It's like a halfway lift. Peel your heart, your belly off of your thigh. Exhale, fold. Let that go. 2 more breaths, just like that. So moving like a wave. Inhales to rise. Exhales to fold. And then after this 3rd breath, you can just linger in the fold. Allow your head to hang heavy. Breathe deep into the back body. Gently walk your fingertips all the way back up in towards your hips. So you're slowly stacking vertigo one at a time. Scoop up your right knee. Two options, seated twist or shoelace. So you're gonna pick up your right knee. You can either cross your right foot over top of your left thigh and work into a seated twist, or slide your right heel out and the left heel will also come up. So your right knee stacks over top of your left like this. If you're in shoelace, you're welcome to stay upright, or you can play with folding. If you're in twist, you'll have your right foot planted. Left arm can wrap or hook your bent knee that's pointing up to the sky, and then right fingertips walk back. If you're looking for more of a quad opener in the seated twist, I like to just hug the knee in. I find that gets a bit deeper into the right glute. Okay, but yogi's choice, just find a pose that serves you. If it's a different hip opener, that's also cool. It's having that presence to move gracefully through the practice. What is working, what isn't, what needs to shift. And just take this one breath at a time. Last couple of breaths if you want to play with any more depth or a different variation. And gently come all the way back up if you've folded, and if you've twisted, just untwist. You can always take a counter twist for a breath or two. All right, we're coming towards the back of our mat. So you're gonna plant that right foot again. Take your hands to the inside of your right foot and lift up into standing splits for just a breath or two. So you're gonna pick up your hips, send your left heel up to the sky. So you should be facing the back of your mat. Beautiful. Bend into your standing leg and step back to a high lunge. So left toes will come down, and then use your inhale, take your arms all the way up. Nice. Okay, so full breath in. Exhale, wrap your right elbow underneath your left. So you're coming into eagle arms. Palms come together to touch. Okay. Start to hinge at the hips. You have a long line of energy from the crown of your head to your back heel. Now you're welcome to stay here or work into warrior three. So finding that soft bend into your back knee. See if you can play without jumping forward, just softly floating your left heel off the earth and coming more into a T shape with the body. Now it doesn't have to be a perfect horizontal, but try to keep that line from the crown of your head to your heel. So even if you're more at an angle, that's perfect. If you want to deepen into the shoulders, puff out through the back body as you breathe in, and then slide your fingertips forward as your shoulders slide down your back. We're moving into eagle. Okay, so whether your toes are lifted or they're rooted down, you're gonna play with starting to shift your weight into your front foot. Okay, pick up your left knee, you'll come up to standing for a moment, and then cross your left thigh over top of your right. Okay, balance again can always be a lot in the morning, so use those left toes as a kickstand if you'd like. I know that always seems to work for me if I'm just all over the place. You can just squeeze inner thighs or rock your toes. You're simply here for 3 more breaths. So instead of overwhelm at the situation or the whole picture, take this breath by breath. Soften with the exhales. Start over with the inhales. Last breath. This is a little bit of a different transition. You'll gently unravel your arms and just step your left toes down so your feet are crisscrossed. Use your inhale, reach all the way up. And you're going to take a crisscross fold. So with your left leg crossed in front of your right, just start to fold forward. You're going to bend into that left knee. And you can even pick up the left heel if you want. And then send your hips over to the right. So you should feel this into the back of the right leg. Now you can always walk your hands over to the left if you want a little bit more depth. Really pressing your right hip out to the side. And then gently you'll walk your hands back through center and just step your left toes to meet your right. Heel toe your feet hip width distance and fold. Inhale, breath, halfway lift and lengthen. So you should now be at the back of your mat again. Exhale to fold. Bend into your knees. Inhale, rest your arms all the way up. And exhale, hands to heart center. So setting up for your chair. Either big toes to touch or feet hip width distance, yogi twist. Inhale, rest sweep your arms all the way up. Exhale, sit back. But try to keep the engagement so everything's drawing to center. Even your core is wrapping around towards your belly button. Okay. Don't worry so much on depth. See if you can just focus on sensation, on activating the muscles around your joints, especially your low back. Hands come to heart center. As you inhale, lengthen out the spine. As you exhale, twist over to the left. So right elbow to the outside of your left thigh. Hands stay at heart center to help with this transition. Look down at your big toes and use your left foot to anchor. So gaze can stay with your left big toe. Softly and as quietly as you can, play with stepping or sliding your right toes back. You'll notice sometimes there's little wiggles and that's totally fine. Optional, lower your right knee if you want a little bit more support. You'll fly your arms open for the transition and then use your inhale to stack your shoulders over your hips. So you're coming up into that high lunge with the twist. Right hand is forward. Plant your left hand to the small of your back and then just as you inhale, reach your right fingertips all the way up. Inhale, breath. Sweep your left fingertips down and up, face forward. Exhale, open up, warrior two. Flip your front palm to face up. Use your inhale breath. Straighten out your front leg and just reach left fingertips up towards the ceiling. So you're getting a big full body stretch through the side body. Notice how the sensation maybe is disappearing from your front thigh. And then when you inhale, lift your upper body back up through center. Setting up for Skandasana, take your time. You'll start to bend into your back knee. So your right knee bends this time. Left toes turn up. Hands can come down to your mat, hips down towards your heel, or optional, just keep your hips lifted high. Maybe you take hands to your heart in this variation. You're playing with a little bit of balance regardless of where you land. So you can decide today how big you want to make that challenge, but just making sure that you don't feel overwhelmed by this moment. So breathe into any of that resistance. See if you can just slow down maybe the thought process to move with your breath. So one breath, one thought. Allowing your focus to narrow in. And then in the next breath or two, you'll start to make your way onto your seat. Okay, so just lowering down, slide the sole of your right foot into the inside of your left thigh. Square your shoulders towards your extended leg. Use your inhale breath, reach all the way up. And then exhale, hinge and fold forward. Just like we did on the other side, 3 lifts and 3 folds. So move with your breath like you're moving along legs. Undulating your spine. And then at that last fold, you can just kind of hang out. Find a place to lean into. Walk your hands up the length of your leg until you come all the way up to seated. Either seated twist or shoelace. So scoop up your left knee. If you're coming to shoelace, you're crossing left knee over right, and then just heel toeing your feet out so you're on pinky side edges. Otherwise, plant your left foot. Always optional, straighten up the bottom leg. Choose your variation, whether that's hugging knee into chest and twist, or folding and shoelace. You bring your attention within and just notice where sensation is in your body. Becoming aware of the undercurrent of your breath. Maybe even holding both of these sensations at once. Last couple of breaths if you wanted to deepen into this or change up your variation. Walk your hands back up or untwist, unravel your body. We should now be turning towards the original front of our mat. So plant your left foot and take your hands to the inside of that foot. Press into your hands, kind of rock forward. And then pick up your right heel all the way up to the sky. Crown of your head comes down. This is just a transition. So you're playing with some length in the standing leg. And then bend into your standing leg, step your right toes back and rise all the way up. Press and lunge. Full breath in, reach up through the fingertips. Exhale, eagle arms to the left. So left elbow sweeps underneath right, and you're winding your arms together. Optional, just reach for opposite shoulders if hands don't want to meet. As you hinge forward, keep your core activated. So you don't want to be holding in a rounded spine, but keep that long spine. You're welcome to just pause here. Or find that buoyancy into the back knee. And as you float your right heel off your mat, starting to feel some tip forward while still keeping the core activated. Right hip sometimes likes to lift out to the side. So think about this like that down dog where you lifted up one leg. You want to keep your hips square. So pointing right toes to the earth. And last couple of breaths in either your warrior 3 or lunge variation. And then slowly start to stand tall. You're going to bring your right knee forward and then cross right thigh over left. Always optional, use your right toes as a kickstand and just focus on drawing your forearms together, your thighs, your maybe calves together. If you want to play with balance, maybe that foot lifts or it wraps around. I'm even noticing my breath is starting to get short. So let's just take 3 deep breaths to close off. And soften with each exhale. One more big full belly breath in. And exhale out. Step your right toes beside your left. Straighten out your legs and inhale, reach your arms up. So you have that crisscross at the ankles. So you exhale, just start to fold and bend into your front knee. Okay. So from here, you're welcome to pick up your right heel. I like to walk hands over to the right side of my mat and kick my left hip out to the side. So whatever feels best for your body. Should feel like a nice release into the back of the left leg, especially after all of that balancing and eagle. You'll gently walk your arms all the way back through center. You can step your left toes to meet your right. Feet heel toe out to hip width distance. Inhale, breath, halfway lift and lengthen. And exhale to fold. Plant your hands, lower one knee at a time. And you're going to set up to come onto your back. So you can just bring your hips down to your mat either side and flip over so that your feet are planted. If rolling down your spine causes any strain into low back, just roll to either side, lower into fetal, and then roll onto your back. Once you come onto your back, just bring your knees into your chest and give yourself a gentle hug. Sometimes it feels nice to rock side to side and just massage out low back. Wind relieving pose. Keep your right knee into your chest. You can either float your left foot down towards the earth, or you can extend your left leg long and slide your heel away from your body. Guide your right knee more towards the side of your rib cage. And if you want this to be a little bit more active, press your left heel away from your body. So it's almost like your left leg is getting lengthened out. Now, at the same time that this pose can have a lot of effort, we are preparing for Shavasana. So perhaps in checking in with your body, you actually just allow yourself a little bit more space to start to come back into this moment. Instead of feeling like you're forcing your body to be anywhere, just sitting with your body where it is. As always, if these next couple of poses don't serve you, just find a variation that works for your body today. I'll always offer a different variation in case the one that I cue just isn't for you. Now bring your right knee back over top of your body. Slide your left heel up so your left foot plants, and then cross your right ankle over top of your left thigh. So figure four. We're going to twist from here. Okay. So you can scoop your hips over to the right and then allow your knees to drop over to the left. Okay. So much so that your right foot plants on the ground. And then the bind is your left hand can reach for your right foot or ankle or shin. And you can always play with pressing your right knee away from your body if you have that bind. If your foot doesn't quite reach the ground, you can always grab your block and take your right foot onto a block or a pillow. Additionally, if figure four twist isn't for you, just untangle your legs, bring both knees into your chest, and then lower both knees off to the side with the option to use props underneath if there's any gaps between your body and the earth. If it's comfortable, gaze can move to the opposite side, over to the right. Start to embrace the heaviness of your body. Unwind. In the next couple of breaths, you can slowly lift your knees up through center. And plant both feet onto your mat and just shift your hips into the center of your mat again. And bring both knees into your chest. No rush to move to interleaving pose. So whenever you're ready, right foot will meet the earth and maybe your heel slides out, straightening the leg. If you want a little bit more depth, left knee towards your left armpit. And similar to when you took those extra breaths into Tadasana, allowing yourself to slow down. So despite maybe the world feeling like it's moving fast around you, it's like you're in this little bubble of time where it's okay to be slow, to be soft. We can watch the world move around us without feeling like we're getting left behind or we're not doing enough. Let's take these pockets of space for ourselves to breathe. Bring your left knee back over top of your chest and slide your right heel in. Cross your left ankle over your thigh if you're taking figure 4, twist with me. Otherwise, you can plant both feet and just move your knees over to the right. If you're taking figure 4, shift your hips over to the left and then allow your knees to drop over to the right. Left foot roots onto the earth and right hand might bind anywhere along the lower leg. You might need to heel toe your left foot in closer to the hip crease to catch the bind. Once you've found the pose, something that I still work on is not trying to fight throughout the pose to get somewhere, but just simply let time bring you there. So you don't have to force depth. It will naturally happen. And maybe it just happens a little bit slower than we'd like. But it is happening. Things are shifting. It's just at a more natural pace rather than the human constructed timeline. Slowly rise all the way back up through center. And you can untangle your legs, bring your hips back into the center of your mat. Then I invite you just take any movement that feels yummy. So whether that's knees side to side or into your chest, if you want a happy baby or cloud pose, there's no right or wrong answer. Just listening to your body, and you'll let your body guide you towards Shavasana. So legs extended long, hands down beside your body. If Shavasana today needs to be on your belly or on your side, know that that is always, always, always an option. You can grab a sweater or socks or a blanket. Just make sure you're super, super comfortable. I'm going to start by guiding you into Shavasana and then leave you in stillness for just a couple minutes for this time with yourself to maybe just unravel some of the overwhelm or busyness. But before we get there, just start to notice once again those pauses in your breath. We refer to these as kumbhaka. Those tiny little pauses between the inhales and the exhales. So we don't always have an hour of time in our day to just dedicate to ourselves. You know, that's the reality. Some of our days are just full. And so on those days, I find it so important to just remember those pauses in the breath, where everything just sets still. So even your breath stops moving for a moment. It's like a little piece of enlightenment. And then you take the exhale. You have that pause again. So if you are feeling just overwhelmed or there's a lot going on mentally, emotionally, physically, try noticing those pauses. That can be your moment of solitude, where you offer yourself patience or grace, kindness or compassion, whatever you need in that moment. I'll leave you here for just a moment, and I'll bring you out shortly. I invite you to close your practice however you'd like. So whether that's on your back or in seated. For those of you moving to seated, just taking the same lesson of the practice with you. So no rush. Just take this nice and slow and stay present for the transition. You can take your hands to your heart and you do land in seated if you are choosing to move there. And just humble your chin to your chest. presence over perfection, presence over certainty, presence. Just let yourself be exactly where you are so you can experience the magic and the joy. So much love from the bottom of my heart. Namaste.